Let's bring in our guests then, shall we? Rob Draper and Jack Rosser, and we start with the Telegraph then. And I'll come to you first, Jack. Tottenham is making headlines. Obviously, 9 days on from Conte's rant. He has gone. It's all about who is going to replace him now. And the name on the back pages and the number one target, according to many, including the Telegraph, is Julian Nagelsmann. They say they want the former Bayern manager to replace Conte. Would this represent, given his reputation, something of a coup if they were to get him?
I think potentially it would. I mean, you've only got to look at the last few appointments for Tottenham. I suppose 2 out of the 3 that they can attract big name players, especially with the facilities they've got, and especially if Harry Kane somehow they manage to keep him around at the club, then you could attract a host of top managers. I think Nagelsmann maybe fits in alongside Pochettino, really, in that, you know, they've both had big jobs but never quite got across the line in terms of winning big things and proving themselves. So it would be a good appointment. I think it might be more fitting with Tottenham and their culture and their ethos than perhaps, you know, more cold winners like Conte and Mourinho for the past few years. It might be one that sits a bit better with the supporters.
And Rob, I'll bring you in here, just looking deeper into the article. I mean, the headline Spurs fans might be rubbing their hands at, but actually if you read further into the article, not all pleasant reading. The story is about a possible a ticket price rise for the supporters, and also the future is uncertain over the Spurs sporting director too.
Yeah, I feel like we've said this a lot of times before, that Spurs are at a crossroads, aren't they? But the trouble for Spurs is that seems to happen every 18 months. I agree with Jack that I think Nagelsmann does fit the bill more than Conte in terms of he's a coach who wants to get the ball forward quicker, who presses higher up the pitch, and I think that's been part of the problem for Tottenham season ticket holders, hasn't it? But I do think there are question marks over his Bayern tenure. I think 2 years ago he was the go-to coach. Everybody wanted him. It may be that he's a generational talent like Guardiola or Mourinho, but he had problems with the squad there. He didn't get on with Müller and fell out with Manuel Neuer. So it's not a kind of surefire thing that you get Nagelsmann and Tottenham will be sort of pushing top 3.
Yeah, interesting that the point that Rob makes there about him having a few disputes inside the Bayern setup, Jack. I mean, given what happened with Conte, will that set a few alarm bells ringing maybe?
Yeah, I think, you know, given the way Conte left and the fact that it seems it's the squad that pushed him out, it may not be the ideal fit with him and Nagelsmann. But you're going to get a bit of that, I think, with any manager you bring in. You also have to wonder whether Nagelsmann, who would be more of a project manager, you think maybe not the one to come in and just get them over the line for that last little push for a trophy. It might feel like he's coming in to sort of refresh things and look a bit more long-term, which would then make their best player, Harry Kane, sort of, you know, push him even closer towards the exit door. He can't really afford to hang around for a rebuild. He might have done it if they listened to Mauricio Pochettino when he called for it a few years ago, but it seems a bit late for him now.
I'll follow up that question, that mention of Harry Kane in just a moment, but I just want to move into the Mail and have a look at this, Rob, with you. And they too say Nagelsmann fight, he is Levy's top target, but Real Madrid and Chelsea are circling, 2 clubs who have managers in place right now. Do Spurs' chances, it seems they're willing to wait till the end of the season to make an appointment, totally just depend on them getting into the top 4, do you think, as to whether they can attract the likes of Nagelsmann?
I'm not actually sure it's top 4. Because I think for Nagelsmann, coming to the Premier League, coming to London, coming to a club with the infrastructure Tottenham would be a really good job. I would be tentative, but if I were Real Madrid, I would be tentative because he has struggled to be pushing it, but he hasn't gelled completely at a big club, at a super club. He's still got a little bit of the kind of Ralf Rangnick about him. You think at Leipzig and Hoffenheim, he was a brilliant coach, superb coach, but those are very different types of clubs where you've got young players who are willing to learn and will hang on your every word, and, you know, they're disruptor, new clubs. And these are the big traditional old powers of European football. You know, my gut would be that Real Madrid would go for Pochettino over a Nagelsmann, and that Tottenham might be free to get Nagelsmann.
And while Spurs take their time, it seems, according to the reports, to make their appointment, you mentioned, Jack, the name of Harry Kane there. I mean, how damaging potentially is any significant delay to their hopes of keeping him and persuading him to sign a new contract?
They certainly need to pitch a clear plan to him, don't they? You think, you know, he's stuck with them, or bounce back and from the disappointment of not being able to get that move to Manchester City a couple of summers ago and stuck with them through that. But then there's been the sort of protracted move for Nuno Espirito Santo over that summer as well. The mess with Antonio Conte now. Daniel Levy's really going to need. He still holds the cards, of course. Kane's contract in until for another season yet at Tottenham. So if he wants to keep him, he will. But to get to sign a new deal, they're going to have to show a real clear plan and a real, desire and backing to get some results on the pitch fairly quickly rather than a long drawn out rebuild.